What's up? It is your girl, Jazzy. And today we're just gonna talk about my personal boogeyman. The thing that haunts me and follows me around that I just can't seem to conquer is contentment and patience. And unfortunately, I have had to learn the hard way that one without the other is not going to happen, because those bad babies are like unidentical twins. Honey. And when I tell you that I struggle with just discontentment in every area, and I do a lot because I can't sit still. If I start to sit still, that's when my little depression slumps start to hit and insecurities just get louder and louder and louder. So, I stay busy. I'm always working on a million projects, a million stories, and eventually they get done. But yeah, like just discontentment in almost every area. And when you find yourself in those things, that's when I have to just take a step back and remind myself of some simple things. So these are just some ways that I try to fight my discontentment, and that I try to let patience, as the word says, have its perfect work in me. But I am not one of her best students. And patience is a virtue. So some ways that I combat discontentment and impatience are honestly scripture memorization. And honestly, sometimes it's scripture familiarity, because I don't remember them all. But I get the gist of it, and I have to tell myself not to worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow has enough worries of its own. I have to tell myself to cast my cares on the Lord, because He hears me. And I just have to, remind myself of those things too. And if you are anything like me, this thing up here, boy, it's nonstop. It is analyzing conversations. It is analyzing everybody's word choice. It is just analyzing everything. And you're battling your thoughts, and you're also battling the thoughts and opinions of others, and you're battling the system of the culture. And again, when you have that struggle atop with, I love spoken word. Why am I not getting booked as much as I wish? I'm trying to be disciplined in my craft, and that is a struggle. So it's just like one thing on top of another, and they're small things, but it doesn't take big things all the time to make you, have a breakdown. And I'm pretty sure I have a breakdown maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Another tool for me is just remembering all the things that God has done for me, is remembering all the things that I have accomplished, that I am exactly where I need to be. Remember when I was back in school, one of my professors would say, if there was a better place for you to be, God would have put you there. And it's just constantly telling myself that, and just learning how to focus on things that are pleasant, how to focus on things that are good, and really learn to watch my mouth. I crack a lot of jokes. And there's probably like 80 to 95% truth in the jokes that I crack. But I crack a lot of jokes, and just being mindful of that, and that what I speak and what I say, it does have an impact. It does have an effect. It impacts my mood. It impacts the atmosphere around me. It impacts my beliefs, and my thoughts, and the things that I'm putting out there, because I am creating the environment that I'm living in. Another thing that really helps me fighting discontentment and impatience is surrounding myself with friends who are going to be honest with me, friends who are going to tell me the truth, friends who are going to remind me of things that I already know, friends who are going to say, ain't nothing wrong with you, you're right where you need to be, stop complaining, don't even express how you feel all of the time. Sometimes you feel it, you acknowledge it, you give it to God, and you move on. Everything doesn't have to be verbalized. And another thing is just recognizing those very small opportunities and those very small blessings, those things that you look over, or those things that are expected, and it's just like, no, like every little step is still a step towards purpose. And another thing that helps is using that discontentment, using that impatience, and turning it into fuel for discipline, and turning it into effort. And God is going to open doors that He wants to open, and when those doors are open, they are going to be magnificent. And another thing, I guess, for me is to just take my eyes off the clock. And that's hard. That's very, 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 very difficult. Is take your eyes off the clock. Like, I serve a God who is outside of time, who created time. He's in no hurry. He's in no rush. Utilizing the time that I've been given. Utilizing the space and the situation that I've been given. That circumstance, no matter what it is a training ground. You can use that to take you places. Use that to perfect your craft. Learn to use that idle time to improve upon yourself, to improve on something. Another thing that really, really helps me is just zooming out and focusing on the bigger picture. Because if you focus on the problem, you focus on the issue, you focus on that negative emotion, that will begin to consume you. But if you just zoom out and realize that you serve a purpose, just like all those idle times and those dry times, they serve a purpose. You'll find I begin to find myself a lot more content in those moments. But for me, those moments of contentment have to stretch out to hours, days, weeks, until it becomes my mind frame, until it becomes my disposition of patience and contentment, of just eagerly waiting on God with expectation. And I think that concept of waiting patiently doesn't mean you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs hoping for something to happen. But no, you're eager, you're excited. So prepare yourself for your purpose, because when those doors open and those things that you are waiting for happen, if you're still not ready for them, what were you doing all those years when you were complaining? And this is things that I ask myself, like, when I do get booked, am I going to be ready for it? Or did I spend all of that time for preparation complaining? Because this time right now is spent to prepare me. Yes, am I doing my purpose now? Yes, but my purpose is just going to continue to expand and become greater. And I have to expand and I have to grow and I have to become greater so that I can handle it, so that I could walk in it. Am I using this time preparing myself for my greater purpose? So yeah, those are my tips. That is my daily struggle. So I mean, we might as well struggle together. So keep it jazzy, and remember, in all things, strive for a little bit less fear than you had the day before. Keep it fearless.